a lot of our GDP growth is directly related to immigration. And when we think about, labour shortages, we tend to use immigrants, healthcare sector, elder care, IT, construction, just about think about any major sectors. And what we do is rely on what I would call cheap immigration. When I say that, I should explain it. Somebody else has paid for that surgeon or that engineer, paid for their education, paid for their experience. And we've gone to that country and we've said, come to New Zealand. So we've not had to pay for that person to be skilled and educated and to get that experience. But very often at the moment, it seems to me that we're relying on immigrants as a source of economic growth, GDP growth, filling labour shortages. And shouldn't we be thinking about how we do things in terms of educating and training New Zealanders, people who are here already? So I just worry that it's a relatively cheap and easy fix to get somebody in from another country to do the work here in New Zealand.
Because I guess it's probably faster, cheaper, easier, and we're looking for the easy way out, like you said before, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think, so at the moment, for instance, one of the reasons we're not in a deep recession or have really negative GDP data is because we're bringing in more people and then they are spending to get whiteware and those sorts of things, right? Where if you took all of them out, because we didn't have this high level of immigration, we'd probably be looking at GDP data going, holy, are we in a depression?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But remember the negative externalities of population growth. So you and I live in a city where the infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, hasn't even allowed for and responded to past population growth. And we're talking about very high current population growth. And I'm projecting future population growth. So over the next 2 decades, we're anticipating an additional 500,000 to 700,000 people in Auckland. So, there's a whole lot of issues around those negative aspects or externalities of population growth that we need to factor in as well. So yes, we get a cheap and quick fix in terms of our labour market, but in terms of housing or roading, not so much.
Yeah, and I guess that brings it to a very tough part of New Zealand, which is housing. And we're not going to be able to build the homes, or I'd imagine we haven't been able to build the homes to keep up with the amount of people that we've been bringing in. So that'll be putting more strain on that whole sector and just that infrastructure.
Yes. And the paradox is that a significant part of the construction industry now relies on immigrant labour at all levels, by the way, skilled through to unskilled. But of course, those immigrants need to live somewhere. So they're adding to the demand for housing. So at the very moment that they're building those additional houses that we need, they're also contributing to housing demand.
Yeah.
And so affordability and availability becomes a huge issue for a place like Auckland.